So there's been this really weird thing that I've noticed with the RWBY community in regards to reactors discovering the show in recent years. And it's been that they have been telling the reactors to skip the openings because of spoilers. I'm here to say none of the RWBY openings have spoilers. This video also does not have spoilers. So any of the specifics as to why a volume's intro might be considered to have spoilers but really doesn't, I'm not going to say what those things are. I'm going to be as vague as possible. That way you can use this to show new creators, hey, you can watch the openings at the end of the first episode of each volume like you're supposed to. Don't listen to the people that are saying, hey, spoilers. The most common one I see with this is Volume 7, and I really didn't understand it. I was like, wait, there is something in the Volume 7 intro, but it happens in the first episode, so you're not going to be spoiled by that once you get to the intro. And then people are like, no, it's this other thing. And I'll be honest, if I was a reactor discovering the show for the first time, and my fan base said, hey, don't watch this intro because it has spoilers, and then I watched it, and I said, okay, what was the spoilers? And it turned out to be that, I would never trust them to tell me what is or is not a spoiler ever again. And more recently, I saw this on We Last Reactions to starting Volume 4, where someone apparently told her not to watch the Volume 4 intro because it has spoilers for characters that are showing up later in the volume. And I'll be real, you may as well tell them to not watch any of the openings at that point. Saying, oh yeah, here's a new character without any of the context as to what that new character is not a spoiler. Surprise, surprise. I feel like, now again, I don't think any of them have spoilers. There's foreshadowing and stuff, but there's not spoilers. I feel like if you're going to call any of them a spoiler, Volume 6 is the one that has the biggest thing that would be closest to a spoiler. And I still wouldn't call it a spoiler. I would still say the same thing. The intros are designed to be watched at the end of the first episode of every volume. That's where they're placed. That's where those of us who watched the show as it happened watched the intros for the very first time. It's not a spoiler to watch them there because they are designed to be watched there. The only thing that you might get spoiled on is if you watch the intro before you watch the episode. And the only way that I would imagine you were doing that is if you're watching all of the intros before you get into the show, and then you've already forgotten what the further on intros have because you've been so focused on the older volumes. None of the volume openings have spoilers. Stop telling people that there are spoilers whenever there's not. Show them this instead so that they know that they can watch the openings and experience them at the right place and time like the rest of us did whenever we first watched the show.